you mentioned that you should not be recruiting those your co-member from the choir, or I hope you're not saying that we should exclude that we should not do that, because as we know, people who come to Mass, the 25% that Deacon Ben has mentioned, I don't think many of them are well formed. Many of them, all that they do is to come to Mass, and then they think that's the end of it. That's the end of their being Catholic. They forget that the Mass is just the beginning, that after Mass, when they're dismissed, they're supposed to go out into the world and bring the Word of God and whatever else they learn. So we're not excluding that you recruit somebody who's a member of the choir, but not yet well formed. And we know that even if the person is to a certain degree is formed, he or she would know somebody, 3 more who probably are not. So that person can still recruit other people as well. And most of the friends that we have in church, maybe they're not really so active in other things other than come to church at Mass and then do what other people are doing. So we should also watch out for them. And they're the ones where we move, so if we see them and they're potential leaders in their own environments outside of church, then I think we should be recruiting them.
Absolutely not. No, just kidding. No, you're right. You're right. No, it's not to exclude them. It's just that, you know, after a Cursillo movement's been in place for a long time, and you've been in ministries for a long time, what I've found is that you've pretty much picked the people that you can pick, you know, in the ministries, if you're active in ministry. That's why I said, you know, it's time to move away from the low-hanging fruit, because if you find that you're not able to get a lot of candidates, especially among the men, right? That means to say, it's like fishing. You're fishing in the wrong spot. You need to go to a new spot. So think about, like I said, your relatives. Maybe that's a new spot that you really need to think about. You've already been fishing here in the church. Maybe now it's the time to go to the relatives who don't go to church anymore. You know, don't you love your relatives? Don't you want them to go to heaven? Should they be like your first priority of who you want to experience the love and transformation of Jesus during the Cursillo weekend? I would think so. You know, all these other people, yes. There are a lot, the people in the pews now, those are still right. Those are open season. There are a lot of people, like Deacon Noe said, who come just out of habit, and there's some who are thirsting. Yeah, they're thirsting for a deeper meaning for why they have this habit. And for them, yeah, it could be a very positive experience. But again, charity begins at home, you know? Instead of running out to the far lands to go convert people, you know, let's take a look at home. Let's see what we can do about saving our brothers and sisters who are literally our brothers and sisters. Thank you.
I was recruited or joined in by inviting me in the prayer group first, which she said, start with the end. So I'm already prepared at the end, which is the team reunion. That's where I was invited into. And that worked for me because I know where I'm going to land to, and then this is what we're going to be doing in many years. So I seem to stumble on lately with people that are not Catholic. It's so hard because I have to start with RCIA or something. So that's where I'm kind of in a search right now, how to put them in some RCIA program and then eventually do a Cursillo invitation for them. So I don't know where I can go to with that kind of search.
Well, it's so true that the Holy Spirit is really guiding us in our evangelization efforts. And so for you, at this particular time, helping non-Catholics enter the church through the RCIA process is what you feel the opportunities are. And by all means, you know, walk with them, become a sponsor over the year or 2 years it takes to have them become fully fledged Catholics as they go through RCIA. Cursillo, like I said, is not the end-all, be-all ministry in the world. There are many, many different ways for people to come to know the Lord. But for those of you who are making the Cursillo, you know, your apostolate, I'm just saying, check out other fishing holes. Okay? Don't use the same ones, especially if you found the results in the past have tended to be somewhat lackluster, especially in the men's area. I think the women are, generally you have success, right? No problem. You can always get the number of women that you want. But in the area of men, you really need to kind of broaden your thinking, explore some new possibilities among your coworkers. Just out of curiosity, by show of hands, how many of you are still working, not retired? Raise your hands. Oh, good. Okay, good. So, yeah, we all have, men that you're going to encounter in the workplace. Maybe you're going to encounter on BART. God, just pray. Say, God, help me to encounter your candidates who you want to attend the weekend, and then give me the words and be brave. Oh my God, be brave. In my church at St. Joseph's in Pinole, one of the things I do before every Mass, and Father Jeffrey does this too, and also Father Dante, we go out like 15 minutes before every Mass and we run around the church shaking hands with everybody in the pews, literally everybody as they come in. Think about doing that yourself. You're not limited in being a hospitality minister. Anybody in the parish can be friendly, right? And if you do that enough times, people are going to start recognizing that, hey, this person might be somebody that I want to talk to. And you might get to know their names, and you never know. You might actually find people who would be worthy candidates for the Cursillo. So think outside the box. That's what we have to do if we really want to increase the number of candidates for the Cursillo. We have to look beyond the ways that we've always done things before. Yes?
Jose left us and went to a better place. We're struggling to get a priest and spiritual a director on weekends. How can we sponsor a priest like Father Geoffrey?
That's your mission.
Yeah. Well, first of all of your parishes, or 88 parishes or so in the Diocese of Oakland, have priests, right? And they're not all Filipino. And your spiritual, director for a weekend does not have to be a Filipino priest. So again, open the realm of possibility here. And those of you who are Cursistas, who are in parishes, with Filipino priests or otherwise, go talk to your priest. The more people who come up to him and say, Father, you should go on a Cursillo weekend. When he starts to hear that from about 15 to 20 different people, he's going to start scratching his head and say, maybe I should think about this. It's not just the one person who keeps bugging me every year. It's like 15, 20, 50 people are all coming at him, tugging on his albs, saying, you really should think about going on the Cursillo weekend. You have what it takes. You could change even more lives, One of the other principles in Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is think win-win. And I think the 6th principle is called synergize. And so what is it that clergy love to do? We love to change the lives of others for the better. So if you come up to a priest and you say to him, Father, my life was so transformed with the Cursillo weekend, and that's why I'm so active now in the church. I really found God, and it's allowed me to really reach out to a lot of people, and I think you would be absolutely wonderful as a spiritual director if you would just please go on your first Cursillo weekend. Give him that pitch. Every single one of you team up. Get 50 of your fellow Cursillistas from your parish to all memorize that speech and go up at different times after every Mass and tell him that, and keep telling him until he breaks down. Don't put that on the tape. Because every single priest I've ever known who's gone on a Cursillo weekend is happy that they did. I've never known a priest who said, boy, that was a waste of time. Every single priest I've ever met who's gone on a 3-day weekend has been tremendously overjoyed that they had that experience. So all of you, make a commitment. You all go, how many of you don't go to church? Raise your hands. Okay, you all go to church, right? But every time you go to church, go talk to your priest, every single one of you, and you tell him what I just said. Not that I said it, but you make up your own speech. Make up your own speech. Very good point. That's how you do it.
Father Jeffrey said yes 5 times, but he didn't go to show up.
Well, maybe you need a new fishing hole. Yeah, stop fishing there. Stop fishing there. Don't think that it's only this priest we want. If you think like that, you are limiting God's work in the world. God knows who He wants. So if you're not asking all the other priests, you are limiting God's work in the world. You have to ask all the priests. Everyone, not just Filipino. Like, my God, any priest can be a spiritual director. They just have to go on the weekend. Okay? And so, make sure you open your mind, okay? Open your mind to new opportunities. Approach all your clergy. All, even the Hispanic ones, just approach all of them. If you cast a wide net, you know that in sales. How many of you have ever worked in sales? You know it's a numbers game, right? Yeah, you gotta sell to a lot of people before you get one yes, right? So you have to cast a wide net. As many priests as you can possibly find. Invite them to come. They will be so grateful to you that you invited them, that when you ask them next year, Father, could you be a spiritual director on the men's or women's crusade? They're going to say, yes, sure. I'd be happy to. Happy to.
Question.
Yes.
What's the age limit for? What is the age limit?
So what do you guys have as an age limit? Every movement's different. What do you guys have as an age limit for the priests? Anybody? Do you have any age limit?
Sky is the limit.
Sky is the limit, right? As long as you're still moving and breathing and talking.
You don't have to carry him.
Yeah, as long as you're not carrying
Best candidates for the 3-day weekend or Crusade weekend are the optimistic people.
Yes.
But I thought that for me, from my own viewpoint, that I would like to invite the ones who are pessimists. For example, I have a friend whose husband passed away last year in July. He committed suicide, and so she was so depressed. Even now, she's still depressed and she's brokenhearted that she lost faith. And she said she doesn't believe in God anymore. So I feel really sad for her. And I try to visit her as much as I can. And I try to reach out to her and really evangelize the words of God. So what can you say about that? Thank you.
Yeah, how many of your churches have a bereavement ministry program? Any of your churches have that? That's where grieving people should go. Okay? That's where they should go.
She doesn't go to church at all, and she doesn't even go to
The Cursillo is not where that person should go. Okay? Because the Cursillo has a specific intent, and it's not either a reform school, nor is it psychotherapy. Okay? We have other ministries that are designed to help people who want help. Now, if a person does not want help, there's nothing you can do for them. People have to take the initiative to want to get help. As much as you might want to be a caregiver, actually you become codependent and you keep them from getting the help that they want unless you channel them or refer them to the right resource at the appropriate time. Not everybody is ready to receive help when you think they are. Sometimes they need to, especially with grieving. Grieving takes its own time. It's different for everybody. But just know that most parishes do have a bereavement ministry where they have a fine support group and they have people skilled in dealing with issues of loss. Okay? Other questions? Yes?
Thing that I observe, I've always been curious why some groups, like the English-speaking, they're able to recruit so many men to join the Crusade. And so I get invited in some of their meetings, and I noticed that they would invite their potential candidates to attend their group reunion. And eventually, they're able to get these people to attend. The other one is, and I would like to get confirmation from Sister Faye and Brother Nolly, St. Mary's team. I thought when they get together, like even on their parties and after church, they invite members of the family to attend. And so I was talking once with Deacon Steve, and I think with Deacon Ray, that we could even invite Ancoristas to attend the Ultreya as well as our group reunion. The only place where we don't want to invite them is the School of Leaders. But in those other activities we could get them acquainted, they'll find friends and so on, and maybe shut them. So what do you think? Do you think it's a work?
I think that's a very good point. And many other dioceses actually do that. It's perfectly okay to invite your potential candidate, your new friend, or maybe your old friend, to come see your other friends. You know, that lessens the anticipation or the apprehension that they might have about going on a Cursillo weekend when they see all these other friendly people in your group reunion or in your Ultreya, and they realize, well, they're just like me. You know, they're just ordinary people. So whatever you can do to lower the feelings of apprehension due to unknowing or the fear of the unknown is going to make it easier for your candidate, potential candidate, to say yes. Yes, so by all means, invite them to your group reunion. But check with your group reunion members first, because sometimes, you know, in your support groups, you talk about really personal, confidential things, and other members of your group may not like to have a newcomer who they don't know attend the group. They might feel that, oh, I can't really unburden myself. I can't reveal, you know, my problems because the stranger is in my group. But if you get the buy-in of your group, then, you know, it's okay. Good point.